loves, welcome back to my channel. It's Megan and today I'm doing another unhaul. So I'm really proud of myself. We've been going through the books. I have a giant stack right behind the camera here. Actually, let me see. So all of these are books that I'm not as excited about, so I want to read them. I'm gonna try to read them before the beginning of the year, and if they aren't read by the beginning of the year, then they're getting unhauled. So that's kind of been my project recently, is just going through those and really deciding if I want to read them or not. At the beginning of the year, I would love to do a bookshelf reorganization in which I get my bookshelves to where they aren't like double stacked like this, or double stacked like this one where it's like 2 rows of books. I want like clean looking shelves, so I'm gonna have to do some real purging. So that is part of the process there, is having all these books that I want to read and just trying to get through them all and see what's going on and if I like them or not. I have been so much more like willing to DNF books as well, because I'm tired of wasting my time and like slogging through books that I'm just not enjoying. And if I'm not enjoying it, then what's the point? Like there's only so much time in the day and we're gonna move on. So I have several books here. I've got some DNFs that I have from throughout the past 2 months. I have some books that I've read and just don't see myself rereading, and then I have some books that I took a look at, well, specifically one book I took a look at and was like, I'm just never gonna pick this up. That is what's going on today. So let's jump into the books I've read and don't plan on rereading. I'm not gonna go too deep into all of these books because most of them I don't even remember what was happening in them because I just didn't care, and then half of them I DNF'd, so I don't know what happened. So I'm just gonna quickly go through the lists here. So these are the books I read and I'm getting rid of. First we have Portrait of a Thief. This is the Illumicrate version, and it's basically a modern day Ocean's 8 of kind of vibe, where these Chinese students are on the hunt to track down art that has been stolen. So pretty fun, just never gonna read it again. Next is The 10 Doors of January. I was really enjoying this at first, but in the end I just didn't really enjoy it. How to Find Love in a Bookshop is basically like a love story, love letter written for people who own or frequent bookshops. It's adorable, just never gonna read it again. And to avoid saying that phrase, never gonna read it again, over and over and over, just know that this pile of books I'm just never gonna read again. It's Okay That You're Not Okay, Meeting Grief and Loss in a Culture That Doesn't Understand. The Friend Zone. Don't even remember what this one's about. Yikes. Best Served Hot. This is 2 critics. One is a like small blogger that does like indie restaurants, and then the other is like a high-end 5-star Michelin food critic, and they have opposing thoughts, and it's enemies to lovers. Onder and Santi were here. I just talked about this one in my wrap-up, so go here if you'd like to watch that. Other Words for Home is a middle grade in a prose kind of situation, and it's a young girl in middle school who is also transitioning from culture to America. The Henna Artist. This is a 1950s historical fiction following a woman who is building her own empire until one day she learns of a younger sister that she never knew about, and she has to take care of her because the parents have passed. Mirage by Samaya Dodd. This is a space science fiction with a girl who has been kidnapped because she is an exact body double of the much hated monarch, and the monarch basically needs a body double because every time she goes out people hate her and want to harm her. Next we have Imposters. This is kind of a continuation of the Uglies series, and in this one we are following a set of twins who are royal, and one of the twins is a secret and is also a body double for the royal twin. Soundless is about a little village that has like no one can hear until one day our main character gets her hearing back and she goes on the quest to find out why. Then we have Ashfall Legacy. I believe that this is the Lit Joy edition, and this is basically a human kid is going into space with his alien uncle to locate his dad and find a cure for the disease that is infecting the aliens from coming back to Earth. Aetherbound is a short standalone fun novel, and we're following a young girl who has a magic that is deemed unworthy and basically a waste, and so she runs away to escape her really abusive family. The Marriage Clock is all about this Indian traditional family, and our main girl is 26 and is basically on the cusp of becoming a spinster, and so her family is pressuring her extremely to find a man because time is ticking. Real Men Knit is first book in a series following this family that has lost their mother, and so they have to take over the knitting shop to carry on her legacy. Midnight Bargain is basically Bridgerton mixed with like a little bit of fantasy. It was actually pretty fun, but I don't know, it ended up not being for me by the end. I was enjoying it throughout most of the beginning, and then I kind of turned off at the end. And this is the, I think, Lit Joy edition. 13 Witches is the third book in a middle grade series following a young girl who is on the mission to get rid of the last 13 witches. Visions by Lisa McMahon is a bind up of 3 short stories following this curse that these people have been given, in which they are seeing visions of tragedies happening over and over and over again until they essentially stop it from happening. Go with the Flow is a fun little graphic novel about middle school and getting your period for the first time. Displacement is about a young girl who gets displaced in time and also displaced physically, and she's following her grandmother, I think, as her grandmother is displaced during the 1940s Japanese like displacement after Pearl Harbor, I believe. This One Summer is about a young girl who is dealing with actually can't say because it's a spoiler because it's not revealed till the end, but she's dealing with not feeling like she's enough for her mother. Anya's Ghost is about a girl who doesn't want to like really show her culture. She wants to pretend that she's just white and fits in, and this ghost kind of forces her to be popular, and so she starts to like respect her culture and want to get back into that. Username Evie is about a young girl whose father is a video game programmer, and right before he passed away he left this world for her to escape into, so it's like a virtual reality program kind of world. Be Prepared is all about summer camp and it's hilarious. March Book 1 is following John Lewis's story. The Davenports is also kind of like Bridgerton, but it's following a black family, and it's set in, I want to say the 1920s if I remember correctly, but I could be wrong. Then I have Red Tigress and Blood Heir, but not Crimson Rain. These are, I actually don't remember what book company these came from, but it's basically kind of a dark retelling of Anastasia with fantasy elements. American Born Chinese is actually like 3 different short stories that intertwine together, but the overall like theming of this is a young man who is American but was born Chinese and dealing with that. Amazon's Abolitionists and Activists is a story, a graphic novel of women's history. The Golden Age is a graphic novel of the Golden Age. These are books that I DNF'd, so I really don't know that much about them. So I'm just gonna quickly go through them. We have Reverie by Ryan LaSala, We All Fall Down by Rose Sasbo, Conjure Women by Afia Adekora, Wicked As You Wish by Rin Chupeco, A Marvelous Light by Freya Mersk, and this is the Illumicrate version. Her Majesty's Royal Coven by Juno Dawson, and this is the Fairy Loot adult version. Master of One by Jada Jones and Danny Bennett, and this is the Litjoy edition. The Disasters by M.K. England. The Romanov Empress by C.W. Gortner, and The Ones We're Meant to Find by Joan He. And then the very last book I have, I actually kind of almost unhauled on a video the other day, and that is The Once and Future Witches. I actually think that this one is pretty cool, or I thought like going into it was going to be pretty cool. I thought it was going to be fantasy. I thought it was going to be like Witch Coven-esque, but when I read the synopsis on a video the other day, I think it was my witchy book recommendations, I was like, oh, that is actually like historical fiction mixed with fantasy, and I don't know, I just don't like the real world and fantasy mixed together, and I've really learned that about myself over the past couple months. So when I read that, I was like, I'll still give it a try. And then like the more I sat and thought about it, I was like, I'm probably never gonna pick that book up after reading that synopsis. So this is why I don't read synopsis before going into books, because then I get this expectation ahead of time and I'm afraid to try things. Those are all the books I'm unhauling. There's quite a bit here. Let me know what books that you think I should give maybe a second chance. There's only probably about 2 or 3 in here that I would consider giving a second chance, but if there's one that you're like, Megan, what are you doing? Reread that, then let me know, specifically in the DNFs. Because I've already read the other ones and I know I'm never gonna reread them. If there's one from the DNF pile that you're like, Megan, stop it right now and go grab that book, let me know and I'll consider it. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will check in with you in my next video. Bye friends.